Welcome back to Reddit from Reddit. Today we're taking a look at the AskReddit. What is a minor inconvenience that absolutely destroys you? Being interrupted when I'm just barely starting to talk. A few years ago, I was in a conversation with a friend of mine and his friend, and I'm a bit of a wallflower, so I don't mind listening and not talking much, but after a long story told by my friend's friend and an audible pause, I started to say something I really wanted to share. A couple words in, I get blatantly interrupted by that same person. My friend is really nice and asked me later what I was going to say, but that really upset me, especially because I barely said a word at that point. Sorry, I just really needed to share this. Hey, did you know this thing that is totally unrelated to what you're talking about and therefore indicative that I am not even trying to listen to what you were trying to say? And since you're here, let me tell you about my day and about all the people that you don't know and couldn't possibly care one bit about. When my girlfriend talks, she just keeps going. I clocked her at 7 minutes straight without stopping, and I swear there are times she goes even longer. The only way I can have a conversation with her is by interrupting. If you're a fan of epic narrative stories, though, she's great. When I plop down on the couch and put my feet up, only to find that I left my drink in the kitchen. On top of this, when you get into a comfortable position in bed, only to realize you forgot to do something. Then you try to use the Force, then curse the world for not being a Jedi. You are then found dehydrated to death weeks later. My daughter is old enough to go get stuff like that for me now. Problem is, she's also old enough to not want to sometimes. Laying down to go to bed and getting comfy, and then seeing the glow under the bedroom door of a light this dumb butt forgot to turn off. My secret is to keep all the lights off and just have night lights. Sticky hands or fingers. When my hands get messy at work, I have to stop immediately and wash. Thank you. Nobody I know understands that sticky hands are just the worst. Yeah, this is a weird one for me. I don't mind being dirty, spent nearly every weekend camping as a kid, etc. But for some reason, if my hands are sticky, covered in something, I have to wash it off. I avoid burgers at restaurants for this reason, because I know the juices are gonna run all down my hand and it's the freaking worst. I love burgers, but I just can't bring myself to get them that often. I end up eating it as fast as I can and running to the bathroom to wash my hands, face, and forearms. My wife, on the other hand, just sort of rubs it off with a napkin and it's no big deal and carries on with her day, and I don't understand it. When the flush sensor on the toilet doesn't function properly, it goes off before I've achieved an acceptable distance from it, or doesn't go off at all. If anybody can figure it out, it's you. Every single site in the world now wants me to log in. Why? Also, the passwords for our site that you will visit once every 2 years have to be exactly 16 characters long and must include a star, the word bun, and an emoji of a kind of fruit. Also, we will not tell you these rules until you've given up and asked to reset your password. Obviously, you can't reuse a password that you've used in the past 35 years, since the consequences of someone fraudulently looking at our collections of Angry Birds fan art are too horrible to contemplate. Dropping my car keys under the driver's seat. I'll try and get them, fully knowing I can never reach them unless I get up. It's even worse when something falls into the Bermuda Triangle. The quality of the show I was watching drops. For a second, I thought you were talking about watching a show on a streaming service and the video quality drops and gets all pixelated and junk. That to me is a real minor inconvenience that gets me riled. My pet peeve is when a show's quality is awful, then gets really good. No matter how enthusiastic I am, I'll never encourage someone to watch one good season of Daredevil, followed by a comparatively poor one, plus an awful season of The Defenders, just to watch the amazing third season. That little bit of pee I can't get out until my pants are back on. God, that's the worst! It's like a download that reaches 100% but still needs 2 minutes to actually finish. Shake it all you want, but the last drop is mine. Underwear, probably. When two people in a grocery stop, trolley side by side, and block the entire aisle just to have a conversation. Especially when you're working there. God, some customers are the worst. Related, is it just me, or are grocery stores slowly but surely shrinking the size of their aisles? I swear I used to be able to park a cart on one side of the aisle and still have plenty of room for people to pass me or shop on the other. These days, grabbing a cart pretty much volunteers you for spending the entire shopping trip feeling rushed and guilty for blocking entire aisles as you try to decide what kind of freaking mustard you want. Emergency poops when I'm ready to leave home. When I need to leave in the morning, but I haven't gone yet, and I know if I don't take care of it at home, I'm going to be fighting it in the car. I call them social anxiety dumps. Having to wake up earlier than you're used to, it can really alter your day. Did that earlier today, and I'm still waiting at the doctor's office. This is one of my only days off, and I'm not amused. Also, I'm pretty sure the lady next to me keeps ripping them.
People that finish something, like toilet paper, and don't replace it for a new one. The feeling that something got into my eye in a public area. I found a little gross to touch my eye knowing I have them dirty. People that walk slowly or stand in the middle of the street only to read their phones. Come on, have a little bit of consideration. Related, people that replace the roll, but instead of putting it on the holder like a functioning adult, they just set it on the back of the toilet. No, that's not how it works. Slow internet. I used to study uni in Singapore. I experienced 1 gigabit per second internet. When I go back, everything is so slow. Combine it with my work computer that I serve the general public with, and you have a recipe for my pure rage every day at work. My job would be 300 times more efficiently done if we had decent internet speeds. Selfish drivers that hurry up and pull out in front of you only to go slow, but clearly could have waited a couple more seconds because nobody is behind me. This. Had a guy do this to me and went 10 miles per hour under the limit and kept brake checking me because I almost rear-ended him when he pulled out. Screw that guy. Getting headphones snagged on things like doorknobs. And the irrational flash of rage that comes with it. Run the cord under your shirt. When you go to the corner store and you're second in line for the cash, a person in front of you has 37 lotto tickets to check, 17 scratch tickets to trade in, and spends 5 minutes evaluating potential winners before meticulously picking them out. Don't forget the break open tickets too. But don't worry, there's only 9 people standing in line behind you while you take your time. Right? I'm sorry, mister, but for somebody on a drug called speed, you sure are taking your time. I lived in a small town with a population of 3,000 people, most of which were retired. Lived there for the last almost 3 years and finally moved away. I learned that old people do not give a crap how long they hold you up. I regularly had to stand in line at a grocery store for over 20 minutes while they pay their lotto tickets one by one with like 5-cent coins. Then they stand by the cash register and count their change and pack their crap for 5 minutes more. When I get a piece of food stuck between my teeth when I've gone out to eat somewhere and I don't have any floss with me to dislodge it. And then you don't want to pick your teeth in public and get dirty looks for it. Having to stay at work until the end of my shift, or late, rather than leaving 5 to 10 minutes early. If I leave 10 minutes early, I can get home in about 45 to 50 minutes. If I leave on time or later, it takes an hour and 15 minutes instead. I'm early to work 15 to 20 minutes every day. If anything goes wrong on the trains and I'm 5 minutes late, they try to make you feel guilty as crap. Good job I don't give a crap about what they think. If I leave work at 5, I can get home by about 6:30. If I leave work at 6:15, I can get home by about 6:30. There's a sequence of double light switches going from the living room to outside through my kitchen in my house that I flip into the order that I can hit both the switches in each spot into the same position, and it turns the lights off behind me and on in front of me. Then the same one going back in the opposite direction. Nobody else respects the sequence, and the switches are thrown into chaos. Nobody respects spreading peanut butter out of the tub instead of scooping it either. Having one nostril clogged. Or when your throat is just slightly sore, not enough to be sucking on lozenges, but just enough that you notice it doesn't feel right every time you swallow. When you're in bed all snuggly and comfy, and then you have to pee. When you ask for some kind of condiment, ketchup, Chick-fil-A sauce, whatever, in a drive-thru, and they forget to put it in your bag. Now I have to eat my nuggets without sauce, like some gosh dang savage. Worse, when you either specifically request there be no such condiment, and they smother an otherwise fine meal with the slimy gunk. And, worst of all, when no such condiment is advertised, and it comes already on the food. Horrendous. Customer in line ahead of me at a store questions prices ringing up on register, and demands to have Stockboy run to confirm. Or at the coffee shop. Now when y'all say black tea, what do y'all mean by that? It's black tea. Oh, okay. Do y'all have any Jenny Smith's Fantastic Blueberry Scone Chinese Lavender Red Tea? No, this is Dunkin' Donuts. Or just anyone taking a reasonably long time in the checkout line. I went through the drive-thru at Jimmy John's the other day, known for their fast service, and the lady in the car in front of me seemed to be having a damn conversation with the order taker. Literally, it took her 8 full minutes to order food. It took longer than that once she got to the window. That small amount of liquid on the bottom of the glass that will leave a wet ring on the table. And this is why I have coasters. One thing I absolutely hate. People who stop in the middle of doors or walkways to chat. Or at the exit side of escalators. Ni hao, there's a whole train full of people coming up right behind you. When my clothes snag on the hanger in the morning, makes me fly into a blind rage and want to snap the hanger into itty bitty pieces. I've actually done that once. It was pretty satisfying. Getting out of bed for work. I can relate definitely, if it's a minimum wage job with no bennies. I'm not sure this qualifies as a minor inconvenience. It's huge, it makes everyone miserable. When the shower curtain touches me. When I'm trying to do the zipper merge while driving and some butthole refuses to merge into his proper spot behind me, but instead blocks me and cuts me off just to get one car length ahead. Frick those people. My cat leaving my lap the second I go to pet her. Bonus points if you really wanted and needed to stand up, but cat jumped down on your lap and you decided to stay so your cat won't be sad, and then you get this in return. Dropping anything twice. Even once is a mild inconvenience. When you're in a rush to get somewhere and start hitting every single red light. When my Bluetooth won't connect to my headphones that I use every day. When you get an errant eyelash in your eye and can't get it out. Bonus destruction points if this happens while you're wearing contact lenses and it somehow manages to wedge itself between the lens and your eyeball. A broken elevator at a train station can completely ruin your day if you're a wheelchair user. I'd argue that's more than a minor inconvenience. You have every right to scream about that one. Screwing up my eyeliner. Damn it, I've been sitting here with a tiny marker trying to draw tiny lines and it's the worst experience ever. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Lipstick. Sometimes goes on in 10 seconds, sometimes after 5 minutes it still looks like garbage. I had my eyeliner tattooed on and it was pretty awesome. It wears off after a few years, so I'm due to go back, but it was definitely worth it, especially if that is the sort of thing that annoys you. It was just the fine line, already perfectly done, then I put in shadow and mascara, and then ready to go. And that's the end of this AskReddit. What is a minor inconvenience that absolutely destroys you? Let us know what minorly inconveniences you down below in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button, get subscribed to Reddit from Reddit, and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.